Welcome back to Whiskey Sports. I'm here with my guy Rhett. It's been
What's
a
up, man?
couple weeks with the holidays, but we are back. How's it
Well, we got
been?
holidays coming up too.
Yep. This weekend
So,
we got Christmas, a lot of football, a lot of basketball. We got a lot going on.
yeah, I think we should I think we're gonna start after we get through these bowl games. And of course, when the championships start happening for college, we will, but we'll start focusing more on NFL and college basketball
Yep.
now. And then maybe some NBA. Um Used to watch way more NBA than I do now. I don't watch near enough as I used to. I'm getting a little bit back into it, but I didn't get into it because of the Eastern time. When I was in
Yep.
Atlanta, the good games would always come on at like 10:30, so I stopped watching it as much. But your
Well,
Grizzlies are looking pretty good.
yeah.
Jaw said some stuff though today. I was like, or in a recent interview, I was like, oh my gosh, he's doing this again. He did the same thing last year, and his foot got stuck in his mouth. But
I think
he
he's
basically
perfect.
said no one in the West can compete with them. All he's focused on is the Celtics. An interview with Malik Andrews.
I'm okay
And he
with
said
it.
that last year, and it's probably going to be the same this year. I still think they need another piece, but they're looking great.
Man, I'm loving it. And they brought a lot of excitement back to Memphis. The Tigers are good as well. I mean, Memphis or basketball in Memphis is going on, so it's hopping. Finally, it's good. What 6 7 years really for the Tigers to start being good again. Grizzlies are starting to come up, so I'm excited to see what our future holds. I don't think I don't know if we'll make the championship or the conference championship or anything this year, but to
According
say
to Jaw, it's going to be 12-0 sweeps through the
hey,
first
we
three rounds.
focus on the Celtics is a little much. We got to get by the Bucks. I'll tell you what.
Well, they're in the East. He's saying the Celtics are going to make the championship against them.
Oh, I swear I thought we had to go through them.
No, Bucks are Eastern Conference.
Oh, that's good then. I was about to say the only reason I was going to say that is just because how disrespectful we won the other week, and how the whole on like how the bench was doing the
That's how regular season always is. You have teams that get down a lot and then they just stop playing because
no
there's
correct.
82 games. They don't care about
But
certain
we
games,
I'm
man.
just saying we threw it in their face, and it's like, hey, we need to relax because we may see them again, and I don't want them to be pissed off playing us.
You're
But
gonna you're gonna you're gonna get hit with a 1-8 seed. Warriors are gonna get in at the 8 and then beat you.
yep.
They're gonna find a way to get it going like they always do.
Yeah, and if we have to play them,
Um,
I mean, we can't. We're gonna have to get someone to knock them out because we don't hit us threes like they do. But
yeah, and then you got our team in the NFL, man. They just stink. That's the
Titans
reality.
ain't it, man.
Injuries are brutal. Tannehill's probably out for the year.
Dennis
We got
Daly,
my boy, baby, Josh Dobbs. Let's go.
love that. I think that's a massive pickup.
I don't think it's going to matter.
I don't think it's
They're
gonna
going to give the
matter, but I
reins
think
to Malik, and we'll see what he's got.
yeah, but I think it's good to bring a little bit of life back into Tennessee football for the Titans because everyone's like, oh, Josh Dobbs. People are getting a little bit excited again. I think it was a good move. I don't if he's is
We'll
he gonna make
see.
an impact? I don't know, but we are very bad. Dennis Daly's not good. Whole offensive line just falling apart. Nicholas Petit Ferrier gave up his first sack of the year, which is pretty impressive, but just bad timing, especially how bad they were playing last week. Um,
Yeah, it is what it is, man. Maybe they'll sneak in and just get Malik some playoff experience if the Tannehill thing is done. If it's over, if we
I think
think
he
he's too
played his
old
last
to
game.
sustain now that he's had all these injuries this year, and it's not looking good for the future with Tannehill.
I think he played his last game like Taylor. He got hurt, and it's hey, we're done with it. I don't. I
And the
don't
sad
know.
and the sad thing is, I think he had another 19 season in him if you get the right pieces around him and he was healthy with a healthy O line or a good O line. But it just that's not how the chips fell. So I think that he might be done. I think he might be gone this off season.
I was thinking
And
the
we'll
same
see what
thing.
Malik has. But at the end of the day, if Malik ends up taking over this year and then stinks the full year next year, you have a pretty good class coming in that 2024 with Drake May and Caleb Williams and a few others. So maybe you give the reins to Malik next year, and if it obviously he's still young, but if he has no growth and it's still really bad, then you start looking at other options. Because if he's really bad next year, you might be looking at a rebuild time.
Yeah, I thought we would not be going back for Taylor, but after this whole offensive line, how that's played out, I think we're probably going to offer Taylor back because we need him. He's just got to stay
We'll
healthy.
see, man. I think
It'll
the
be
only thing
interesting.
keeping him here was John Robinson, and he's
They got
gone.
a lot of pieces to figure out. Defense is fine, but we contracts are about to start going up. We're
Defense
getting
is fine, but they can't stay healthy either. So at some point, you got to look at the strength and conditioning coach and be like, okay, we've had this for 3 or 4 straight years. What's going on?
that,
And
and now we're getting a new stadium, and it's like, well, we're on a budget, so it's going to be interesting, man. I hope they don't let go of
I
every.
think they're getting financing from the league, though. I think it was
Okay,
approved the other day.
that's good.
So
Um,
we shall see. But we never got to talk about the championship weekend. I think we overall did pretty good with our picks. I know I picked the upset of Utah beating USC, and then you picked the upset of TCU getting beat by Kansas State. I
yeah.
think that's how it went. And then the other games, of course, we picked how they went.
Yeah, I only picked Kansas State because I thought Adrian Martinez was playing. I didn't know he had a
And they
fractured
selling it up,
fibula.
getting it done. TCU came back and made it a really good game.
He
It
did,
was a
man.
really solid game. I enjoyed watching it, but
Yeah.
I mean, and the chips out fell how they did. I told you that a TCU loss, it does not matter. They were in no matter what, and I told you that they were in at 3 no matter what, and that's kind of how it ended up. USC got drugged. I'm like, so excited now that I saw them lose to a team they already lost to, but this time by even more. Excited that they're not in because I think Ohio State's going to give Georgia all they can handle, and I don't think USC had a shot in hell of giving them anything.
I agree, especially with how poorly their defense was. They had, I think, 22 missed tackles against Utah. I mean, it was embarrassing. And I would tell you, if you can't tackle the Utah players, I promise you're not going to be able to tackle Georgia players.
Yeah,
That's a guarantee.
with the Heisman, it just felt like a consolation prize this year.
Man,
It seemed like everybody who had it, like Hendon had it in the bag, gets hurt. I still think he wins if he doesn't get hurt in that game and plays
no
against
question.
Vandy because he still showed out in the side. It wasn't his
No
fault. The
question.
defense gave up 60
Yeah,
points. And then Stroud had it in the bag and then he choked against Michigan. And so it was almost just like a consolation prize for Caleb because he's been great all year in the stats. But of course, he didn't really get it done when it mattered. But it just seemed like when everybody just kind of falters or gets hurt, you got to go with the dude with the best stats. And Caleb had it.
I still
And,
think he's
I mean,
overrated.
the kid from the running back from Michigan got hurt, Corum,
Yeah.
so it's just like it was just like a consolation prize this year. I ended up texting you and I was like, it's maybe a hot take, but just give the damn thing to Stetson Bennett. I mean, he won the Natty last year. He's played solid this year. It's not really his fault. He hasn't played in any second halves hardly the whole year. And I know he didn't have the TD. I know the TDs aren't there. I know all that, but it was more so like he's the most consistent one. They keep winning and they won the national championship last year. If he wins the national championship this year, he'll be the first QB since Tebow to have 2 national championships under as a starting QB. So it's like,
That's
if it's going to be
insane.
a consolation prize, why not just give it to Stetson?
Yeah. I still don't think Caleb is that good. I mean, I think he's a little overrated. The whole like F Utah on the fingernails, I think
Well,
that's
it's hard to tell when you play in the Pac-12.
yeah.
It's just hard to tell if you're actually really good or if the defenses are that bad or if it's a
And you
combination
can
of both.
and you see that with Bo Nix. Yeah, his stats look great, but you saw him against Georgia and they lost 49-3 and I think he had 3 picks. Then he goes and plays in the Pac-12 and I mean, oh, don't get me wrong, he looked pretty good. He didn't have any pressure, so he just sat there, waited for somebody to get open, and Oregon's going to get people open. They're known for that.
Yeah, it was a perfect fit for him. It was the smartest move he ever made. When you're that athletic and you do have the arm strength, you don't have the decision making and you don't have the accuracy. You go somewhere that you don't necessarily need the decision making or the accuracy to, because there's no doubt he has the arm strength and he has the athleticism. So he made the best decision. I mean, he's going to end up getting drafted. He's coming back for whatever reason. He's going to end up getting drafted maybe in top 4 rounds. Whereas if he wouldn't have gone to Oregon, he wouldn't have gotten drafted at all. So
And the reason I think he's not going this year just because of the quarterbacks coming
yeah,
in the draft, and he knows like I'm not going to get drafted high, so like let's wait one more year and use your last year because if you don't get drafted, then you're just kind of fighting on practice squad team. So like
yeah. I mean, I guess it's kind of deep this year, the QBs, but it's top heavy, and that's how it is every year, with Bryce. And it's not even really top. I mean, I only think there's two. I don't think Will Levis is going to be successful at all. Uh, uh,
Potential.
yeah, but it's just hard. And I know everybody's trying to get that next Josh Allen, but that Josh Allen only came. That project of Josh Allen only happened once, and that was Josh Allen. There's never been another QB that's came in that. Um, what would you even call it? That like amateurish and ended up being that good. I
Yeah,
mean, he just
doesn't happen often.
they polished him perfectly, and I don't you can't do that every time. Now, Will Levis may end up coming in and doing something like that, but
Yeah, suppose he
I
got
don't
the
really
whole
see it.
strength. He's got the tools. He's got the strength. He's got the size. He's got it all. It's just is whoever gets him just gonna have to develop him. And if they can
He
get
also
him,
doesn't run like Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen can run. He's got the frame of Josh, but Josh is a really good runner when he needs to be. Levis does not want to run at all. He wants to sit back there and he can move and he can do all that, but he doesn't want to run. Now, short yardage he'll run just because he has the frame, um but no, I mean, I think the championship weekend didn't really show us much that we already didn't know.
I think it showed us that Georgia's the most dominant team in college.
Yeah, but even it showed us that they're beatable too. They gave up 30 points to a pretty bad offense.
They
So
did that backup quarterback came in for LSU
um
pretty good.
so maybe that shows that if they get in a shootout with Ohio State, you never know. That game I'm not scared for Georgia. I don't like Georgia. So I'm scared for you and what that would mean for you if Ohio State
Well,
beat Georgia. Because I'll be pulling for Ohio State. I'm not an SEC homer like that. If they're my rival, I'm not pulling for them. I will never pull for Georgia, Florida, or Bama, and that's how it's always going to be.
luckily I'm not going to be able watching the game with her. I don't think. She'll be coming back from Mexico, so she'll be. I think the game starts at 7. She'll get here at 8. So I guess I'll watch like the second half with her if it's not they're not being blown out. But we'll get to that game. We're gonna get to that game.
But yeah,
Um,
I mean TCU, they just did it. They got it done all year, and they deserve to get in. Now, do I think they're going to compete? I don't know, man. Um,
they surprised me.
if they keep it close, man, if they keep it close, like they always do, you never know at the end of the game. But we'll get into that. We can start doing things
Well,
now.
before I get into the games, we're gonna say rest in peace, Mike Leach.
Yep.
Um, it's incredibly sad. I can't believe it happened. And I really hope Mississippi State does something super cool for him. I've seen a lot of ideas being thrown out there, but definitely want to give out my condolences to his family. Sad news.
Yeah, and I'm not one to, and I'll never be the one to, if someone passes or if anything like this happens, that you break rules or anything like that. Um, and I think it should be black and white. The percentage on wins to get in the Hall of Fame, which is I think 60%, and he's at 59 point something. But I
Take
think this is a little bit different because Mike Leach actually he
change.
literally the way we play the game today is because of Mike Leach and how he innovated in offense. And when he brought it in, everybody was like, wait, whoa,
Yep.
man, we run the football, we do play action, we do 70-30 run. Like, what is this thing that you bring in the spread offense that you just air raid it?
Yep.
And then now what we see today is at least variations off of that. Not many do the pure air raid like he does and pass it 70 times a game, but every variation you see nowadays is mainly off of that, unless it's, the wing tee or the option or anything. So I think he should get in just based off being an innovator and what he meant for today's game of college football. So,
And let's
but
be honest, man. He's so technically he was 3 wins away. He's getting 3 wins at Mississippi State next year. They just are. So put him in there. I mean, if you want to be like, oh, he only had 59.6%, but like, let's be realistic. Let's go on their schedule next year and let's look at 3 wins that he would have won, and let's just give it to him and put him in there.
well, it goes based on percentage. So if he went 6-6, that's 50%. He wouldn't have
I
gone.
see. So
You
okay,
see what
so
I'm
they had to go
saying?
at
He would have
least.
to go 3-0 technically. Obviously, there's 12 games, but
Yeah, I
um
see what you're saying. So he had to
but technically, usually people play 3 straight cupcakes for their first 3 games, so maybe he would have gotten to 3 and
yeah.
0, or something like that. But no, I don't. I don't. I think I'm a black and white person. I'm logical as hell, but sometimes there needs to be gray area, and this is that time.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, We're going to open up a Wisconsin and a Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is plus 3.5. What are you thinking?
Yeah, man, Wisconsin's been playing a lot better. They get the newfound coach in Luke Fickle. No, he's obviously not going to be coaching in the bowl game. I wouldn't think. I don't think that happens. But revive the program a little bit. And this Oklahoma State team has been playing so bad over the last 2 months, and now without Spencer Sanders, their quarterback, senior quarterback, fifth-year quarterback. I don't see. I think Wisconsin's going to be able to dominate this game in the trenches. And I'd take them -3. Just give me the half point because this is still a tough game, but I don't think Wisconsin has a lot of opt-outs or anything because they didn't have a great year. Obviously, they fired their coach.
Um, I think it's going to be low scoring. Um, Wisconsin's quarterback did leave, Graham Mertz. I believe he was still the starter. He did leave. So
Yeah, but he's terrible.
To me, two fresh quarterbacks. I like Oklahoma State in the points. I like +3. I just think I don't want to say there's too many off-field distractions, but I mean you're going through a coaching change, and we saw that with Cincinnati. Kerry Coombs came in there and they lost 24-7 to Louisville. And realistically, Cincinnati's a better football team than Louisville.
Well,
But
if you're going to go off that, Louisville also had a coaching change, and they came in there and dominated.
oh, that's right.
Scott Satterfield left.
That's right. He did leave, didn't he?
I'm
Now,
just
where'd he go?
didn't he? He didn't go to Cincinnati, did he?
Dude, I don't know if they.
I think he went to Cincinnati. Hold on, I have coaches pulled up here. I'm pretty sure he went to Cincinnati.
Really.
Yeah. So Jeff Brom obviously to Louisville.
Yes.
For the people out there that didn't know, which is a pretty big pickup for Louisville. I mean, he's been a solid coach at Purdue. Yeah. So Cincinnati picked up Scott Satterfield from Louisville, and then Louisville beat the shit out of him.
Well, realistically, Kerry Coombs, man, he's just falling apart, man. He was at Titans and then left and went to Ohio State, and Ohio State fired him, and then now he's at Cincinnati, and then he tried to be a head coach, and it just did not look pretty. But yeah, I'm sure.
247 has graded all the new coaching hires, and I'm pretty sure they graded them like a C-.
Cincinnati?
No, Cincinnati. That's Scott Satterfield. You're probably talking about is he their interim, Kerry Coombs?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But no, they even graded Scott Satterfield as a C+.
Damn. What they do, Hugh Freeze?
He wasn't very good at Louisville. I mean,
what they do, Hugh Freeze, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the highest grade was Luke Fickle and Matt Rule to Nebraska.
Yeah, I do like Matt there.
Luke Fickle also fits the mold for Wisconsin too, so that's a good hire. Both good hires there. I won't be surprised if they compete in the Big Ten again like they are used to doing. Both of them.
The next game is Arkansas and Kansas. Arkansas's -3 and the over/under is 68.5. I like Kansas +3 again. I think Arkansas is absolutely falling apart. Sam Pittman's losing his team, I think, a little bit. I just think there's too much going on in Arkansas. I like Kansas +3.
Yeah, I could agree, but Kansas, the wheels just fell off of that season. Once they got to the bowl 6 wins, I think they lost like every game since. And a part of that is Jalen Daniels, their quarterback, going down. That backup just is not what Jalen is. So I'm going to go with Arkansas. Sam, I don't think that he's lost the team. I think Sam's a good enough leader to be able to hold it all together. So I think they're fine. Now I think Missouri just beat the crap out of them in their second to last regular season. So I'm not saying this is confident at all. I just think there are two teams that the wheels completely came off.
Yeah.
So give me Arkansas just to win at least the run battle with Rocket Sanders.
And they lost to Liberty at home 20-14.
Yeah.
But
don't be dogging on your new coach now.
I'm not. But that's a game that they should not be losing.
No.
Nope. The next game is Oregon and North Carolina. Oregon is -14.5. I'll let you go. When the over/under is 73.5.
I'm still not comfortable with going under there, man. This is going to be a shootout, I think. But I don't like this North Carolina team. They can't play defense. Their offense struggles at times because May has to do too much.
Yep.
I love May. I think he's going to be a great quarterback and end up being a great quarterback in the NFL. I just think this Oregon team will be too much offense. I mean, UNC can't stop a soul. It doesn't. I don't. I think Oregon will score every single time, and I think they'll be able to stop them at least twice. I think they win by exactly like 17. So I like it.
Um, I like Oregon big. I think they're going to
Yeah.
score almost 70 there by themselves. Like, I don't think North Carolina will stop them. I like the over 73 and a half for sure. I think Oregon can win by 21 plus. Um, I just, Drake May can't do it all by himself.
I wouldn't be surprised seeing like a 56-24 type drubbing in this
Yeah.
game.
But I definitely see that over, no question. I think Oregon's going to score almost that many themselves. Um, the next game is Ole Miss and Texas Tech. Ole Miss is minus 3.5, and the over under is 69 and a half. A lot of threes.
I'm
Golly.
actually interested in the under there. I Texas Tech goes extremely fast, but they also the last like 2 months they haven't scored a lot of points. And their defense is better than people think. And then Ole Miss actually runs the ball so much that their offense is fast and it's Lane Kiffin. You just think points, points, points. But they run the ball so much they actually drain the clock. Now I'm not necessarily comfortable with taking the under there because they can both score at will when they want to. But I'm definitely taking Tech here. Um, I don't know, man. I just think the wheels have really fallen off Ole Miss this season. And after that loss to LSU, they just kind of lost interest, it seemed. And then the loss to Bama. Um, I just don't think they have. I don't think they have what it takes, and I think Tech is is actually better than what people think. You know, they have what 5 or 6 losses, but the Big 12 was not bad this year at all. It was actually a
They
pretty
beat
darn
each
good
other up.
conference. Yeah, and they competed in mostly all their games. So I like Tech in the points here.
I like Texas Tech +3 as well. I'm, however, going to go the over 69 and a half.
Hmm.
I think it'll be like a 42-39 type of game with Texas Tech winning. But yeah, definitely 3.5. And I mean, if I am right with that, I still win by half point. But I do like the points with there because I think it's just who came out to play.
Yeah, it's Texas Tech. Both Texas Tech and Ole Miss has just been weird to me this year. This could go either way in points because they don't ever have neither of these teams ever have a middle ground worth of points. They either score a shitload or they don't score any.
Yeah.
So it's just like some of their games some of their games are 20-13 and some of their games are 52-49. There's no games that are like, yeah, it was like 38-28, you know? It's so weird to me.
Uh,
So I'm not touching the over under. It's just weird.
um,
70 is still a lot of points, but for these
and I
teams,
mean,
sometimes
and I
it's not a
missed
lot.
that last game when they played LSU. They put up a lot of points. They just lost.
What's that?
Didn't they put up a lot of points against LSU at LSU?
They scored like 17 the first quarter and then didn't score the rest of the game.
Oh, really? Maybe that's what it was then. Okay,
No.
that's right because LSU came back and won. Um, Next game's Oklahoma and Florida State. Florida State is minus 9.5, and the over under is 65.5. I like Florida State big.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Oklahoma.
actually kind of like I've watched them more than I thought I would this year, and they've gotten better every game. I like their quarterback a lot. Oklahoma's defense is awful, which is weird when you have a literally defensive mind as your head coach.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he's going to last there, but it can't be long. Venables. Um, Yeah, I think Florida State does it in this game, and I think they can blow them out, man. Their defense is good. Jared Verse is a stud. He's going to create problems in the backfield to mitigate. Now Oklahoma's still going to score, but he can mitigate some things that they're doing offensively on his own.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game at first, but I think Florida State will pull away at the end.
Bowl season, baby. For your teasers. This is the best time of the year for
Yeah.
teasers.
The next game is Texas and Washington. Washington is +3.5. Um, Michael Pelix, isn't that his name? Pelix?
Penix Jr.
Penix. He is out this year, but he is coming back to Washington. But solely off the quarterback being gone, I like Texas. I
Yeah,
like
I was about to hammer money line Washington and Penix was playing. I didn't know he was out.
he tore his ACL.
Oh yeah.
again because he tore it. He tore it at Indiana, and
Yeah,
then he
it's
tore it now at Washington. But he said he's coming back. But yeah, no, I like Texas with Quinn.
yeah. I don't. Man, Quinn's been so up and down this year. He's just struggled at times. Really, really struggled at times, and has struggled the last couple months of the year. I actually think the 3 weeks off, or the month off between bowls is really going to help him, and I think he'll come out in the bowl and really perform. If Michael Penix was playing, I'd probably go Washington, but I like Texas's defense, and I like Quinn Ewers basically freeing his mind this last month and come out here and balling out in the bowl game.
I will say I do question why Arch Manning's going to Texas. I understand Sarkeesian's a really good coach, but like Quinn Ewers is there, so like let's
And do
say
we know that he's a really good coach?
that's
Everywhere he's been a head coach, he has never been successful.
that's true, but I'm just more so worried about just Arch. I mean, maybe he goes there and he beats Quinn out. Well, guess what? Quinn's leaving again. He's going for his third school in 3 years, like or 4 years. I don't know. It's going to be interesting how all that works. I'm surprised
Yeah,
Arch didn't go
I'm
anywhere
interested to see
better.
about Arch and what he really is.
And he's
Is
going.
it
He's
the
going there
name?
as
Is it a
well.
combination of both?
Yeah,
His high school competition, you can't judge it off that. I mean,
yeah, that's
it was
brutal.
pitiful. They had 150-pound linemen out there on the
And
defense.
he
And it's
was
like,
still losing. He was still losing.
and the kid's he's got all the pressure in the world, which kind of
Yeah,
stinks.
it does. It does.
But I mean, he's gonna have to work for it because Quinn's got the talent. He did really good the first month, and everybody's like, "Yeah, this dude is the next big thing." And then he
Legit.
just fell off. But that doesn't mean I think it just got up here with Quinn.
Yeah.
So I think, like I said, I think that last month and then the off season is really going to help him. So Arch has got some work ahead to do
Yes.
because Quinn still has what 3 or 4 years of eligibility if he wanted
Yeah.
it.
As he left high school early, went to Ohio State and redshirted.
But you're definitely going to see one of them enter the portal.
No question.
Whoever doesn't start this
Yeah.
next year is going to the portal. That's the
100%.
reality of what we're in today's day and age.
I think the other day they tweeted out like 1,300 kids have entered the portal in a week. It's insane, man. Next game is Clemson and Tennessee. Unfortunately, I'm going to go Clemson here -5.5. I'm sorry. Clemson, Tennessee's -5.5, over under 63.5. But I like Clemson -5.5, and it's only because Tennessee has a lot of people getting out or out of the game or out of the bowl game, opting out. And I haven't seen anybody from Clemson opt out. So, and Dabo came in talking shit to Tennessee, so I know he's going to have them on their A game. So I like Clemson just because of the call or opt outs.
Yeah, I mean it's hard for me to, especially with 6 points. I mean, I think it would have been I think it'd be a really I think it's going to be an okay game, pretty good game regardless. But I think it would have been a really good game if we had our people and Hendon was still healthy. Obviously, I still think Joe is going to be the man next year. He needs one more. I know it's weird to say, but he needs one more offseason. He looked good at times this year. He had some overthrows still. I'm excited to see him in this bowl game and all of our whole backup wide receiving core because our whole Cedric Tillman not playing, Jalen Hyatt not playing. So I think Brew McCoy is playing though, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, with all these people out, Hendon hurt. Don't get me wrong. I think we can maybe hang in there because I don't think their offense is great. But then you add in the fact that our defense stinks, and Cole was actually finally Cole was playing.
Yep.
He should have been playing all year.
Correct.
If he'd have been playing all year, they're probably in the playoff right now. So
100%.
I think they're going to come out and ball out, and I think they get us by more. It could get ugly
Yeah.
as
Well,
as much
so
as
I
I
do have
don't
a
want to
question.
say it.
So they passed a rule. I don't know when it was, but your 5-star Nico can play in the ball game, correct?
No, he can practice. He can't play.
He can practice. Okay. See, I heard that they can show up, but I didn't know.
Do not throw a kid into a bowl game versus Clemson his first 2 weeks on
Screw it.
campus.
Why not? Give him some
Because
experience
Joe's the man next year.
for sure.
For sure. Joe's going to
Over
be
the
the man.
5-star. I mean, I heard that nothing but greatness from this 5-star. Is it Nico?
Yeah, he's supposedly supposed to be really, really good. But Joe's a 5-star just with 5 years of experience, 6 years.
True.
That doesn't mean he won't get benched fourth game in this. I believe in Joe, but that doesn't mean he won't get benched third game of the season because he can't fix his overthrow issues.
Correct.
Sometimes
He
you just
didn't
can't
look
tame.
above him.
Sometimes you just can't tame that good of an arm. I mean, it's he throws it lightly and it still goes 100 miles an hour. Like there's nothing he can do
I know.
besides throw it left-handed. It's
Uh,
weird to say, but he's got two. He's you pick anybody in the NFL right now, and I don't care who it is, Mahomes, Josh Allen. This dude can throw it farther and harder than they can. It's unbelievable.
Even Josh would be fun to watch because I think Josh Allen has the best arm in the NFL
This
right
dude can one step and throw it 80 yards. Joe can.
now. Dude,
No crow hop.
it'd be cool. It'd be cool to watch.
They need to bring that. Back in the day, they had the longest throw in
Competition. It was on
offense. They
one
need to
hand.
bring that back.
Yes,
Because
bro.
nowadays they were only hitting like 65 to
HBR.
67. They could throw it 75 now.
Shit.
You know.
Next game is Kansas State and Alabama. Alabama's -5.5. Bryce is playing. Everybody's playing. Give me Alabama by 1,000.
By 1,000. Kansas State's can come in and compete in this game. They impress me. They're a good football team and they're physical. And Deuce Vaughn is really good, and their backup QB is good. But yeah, I mean, Bama's got all their people coming back, which kudos to them, man. Bryce and Will. Just hopefully we don't see a tragic injury or anything like that.
Yep.
Because if that happens to one of those guys, you'll never see a good player play in a meaningless bowl game ever again.
Bowl games will be. There's no point to even have them. Let's just do
Yeah,
playoffs. Don't make the
but I
playoffs.
got Bama in this with them playing Bryce's last game. He's going to be giving it his all. I hope he doesn't come out there and just goes through the motions. But Bryce, it doesn't seem like that kind of guy. He's going to come out here and try to prove a point.
And then we have Penn State and Utah. Utah's -2.5 and over under is 51.5. I really like the under 51.5 here. I think that's the best play because I don't know who's going to win. I don't know who's all playing for Penn State. I don't know who's playing for Utah, but I think the best bet would be the under because both defenses are pretty solid. But if I had to choose, I'd go Utah money line and the under 50.
Yeah, this is an interesting game, isn't it?
It is, man.
You never see these two teams play either, so it's
No,
very
man.
interesting.
And Penn State, dude, they're 10-2. They lost to Michigan, Ohio State. Like that's a successful year for Penn State.
Yeah.
Like that's a great year for Penn State. Chalk it up. Can you be Utah?
Cam Rising, if everybody's in, Cam Rising for Sam Clifford, give me Cam Rising.
Oh yeah, no question. That's what I'm saying. I don't know who's playing, so if I had to pick, I'm going Utah money line.
I'm going Utah as well, but I think it's a close, really good, hard fought game. I'm actually excited to watch that one.
Yeah. All right. Now we got the playoffs. We'll go TCU Michigan game 1. Michigan is -7.5 and the over under is 58.5. That's gonna be a close game, man. I'm looking more so at the over under. I think Michigan's going to dominate on both sides of the ball on the line. And I think based off that and on the momentum they have, I like Michigan to win. 7.5's a lot, man, especially for a playoff game. I like Michigan and minus a touchdown, and I like the over 58.5.
Yeah, this is a tough game. I think Michigan wins. They're going to win in the trenches. That backup running back is good, and I think it just shows that running back is replaceable, guys. You just need a good line. They're all good when you get to that level. Every running back is athletic. They have vision. I just think it goes to show running back's a replaceable thing unless you just have a Terminator back there. But I like TCU's fire, man. They'll probably get down quick like they normally do, and they'll fight back. I do like Max Duggan. He plays with a lot of heart.
Yes, he does.
His interview, and he was balling after he knew they were going to make the playoffs probably, but he was balling like he just wants to win. So I don't know if it's more so that I'm rooting for TCU. I'm going to root for TCU to win the whole thing. But I like plus 7.5's a lot for a team that just won't give up. I think Michigan wins, but I think they win by 7. So I'm going TCU.
You said you're cheering for TCU to win it. I'm probably
I can't stand Georgia, and I definitely can't stand Georgia, and I can't stand Michigan or Ohio State. So my hierarchy is TCU, Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia is mine.
I'm probably the biggest Michigan fan this year in the playoffs. Because if they win the national championship, somebody will never hear the end of it. So I am really, really rooting hard for Michigan. That'd be pretty awesome to see.
They to me though they just play the same. We're not getting in over our heads right now, but they play the same style as Georgia. And when you play the same style as Georgia, it usually does not work out in your favor. I think
Hey,
Ohio
listen,
State.
listen. I
I think
understand.
Michigan's better than Ohio State, but I think Ohio State because they have a different style
Yeah,
will can give a better match to Georgia.
right. I don't get me wrong.
I think the Georgia Michigan game would go exactly how it did last year.
I think Georgia's gonna win it all. But if I had to pull for a team, it's gonna be Michigan just solely
Yeah,
because
yeah. I
just
get it.
but game of the year right here, man. Ohio State and Georgia. Um, I have a take right here, man, and I think this game can go one of two ways. It depends on the play calls from Ohio State. If Ohio State can have good play calling, I think that their wide receivers are good enough or are better than Georgia's cornerbacks, and I think that +7 would be a good bet for Ohio State. Georgia's defense struggled on the pass game, especially number 5. I don't know his name, but you know his name.
Haley Ringo.
Yeah. Um, man, I don't want to pull for Ohio State, but I think this is going to be the toughest team that Georgia's played so far this year, especially those guys at wide receiver. Um, man, I like Ohio State +7. Unfortunately,
Yeah, you point out the receivers, and I just don't know if it matters, man. They
yeah,
have the same receivers versus a Michigan team that they got blown out by at home.
CJ's got to have to come out, man. That's what I'm saying.
And
It depends on the play calling. The play calling is brutal.
Georgia's needed to get up for what? 4 games this year: Tennessee, Oregon, LSU, and I guess Florida because they're a rivalry team.
Yeah.
Every time they've needed to get up, they've shown out and they've just dominated. And I know they gave up 30 points last week, but at some point in the game, they were still up like 35 or something. I
Dude,
think
they were running this.
they just kind of mailed it in. Don't get anybody hurt.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
we're
no
good. Let's get
question.
to the championship.
Yeah, yeah.
They just Kirby, they play down to their competition, they play up to their competition, and they always just come out to play when it's needed of them. And I think they come out to play here. And I'm not saying it's gonna be a 21-point blowout, but I do think they win by 7 or more on
Yeah,
this.
dude. I go back and forth, man, because you could do that for every game, but Ohio State has the talent. But man, their defense, if they can't stop Michigan's running game, I'm
But
probably
why
be able
after
to stop
13
Georgia.
games would randomly their offensive coordinator just start calling good plays? Like,
Well, Ryan Day's been calling the plays, and I think he's handing off to somebody else, and there's gonna be different play calls now. Is kind of what I
well, the first quarter is going to be close. I mean, they're going to have a script. They're going to know the
question.
weaknesses of Georgia. This first half is going to be close, in
Yeah.
my opinion. And it may get up to like 21-21 or 28-28. And then those second half adjustments by Kirby is always the killer. I think he finds what they know about him and their weakness, and then he just reverts it back, knows that they know, and then ends up playing in his favor, So
CJ's going to have to step up. He's going to
yep.
have to play.
He's gonna have to run the football.
He's going to have to step up, man. And if he can step up and play to his potential, man,
He can run the football. That's why I don't understand why he doesn't run the football.
because he said the coach doesn't call it. He only does what the coach calls, and that's just he didn't have that playmaker in him. But I'm gonna go Ohio State +7.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
no, I'm excited.
it's gonna be a good game.
I think they both can be good games, but I think they both obviously can be potential. Like I think Georgia can blow it out.
100%.
I think Ohio State can win, but I don't think they can blow them out. And then the opposite way, I think TCU can hang, but Michigan obviously can blow them out. So we'll see. Let's just pray that they're both really. Or on your sense, I know you want Georgia to blow them out, but I will be viewing and wanting close games.
Yep.
So.
All right, guys. Till next year, really, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we won't be back until after New Year's because of the holidays.
So, all right, guys.
See y'all.